Welcome back to Toronto Real Estate by the Numbers for January 2023, the video I do every single month, breaking down the Toronto real estate market, breaking down trends, stats, numbers, all the fun stuff, helping first-time buyers gain some confidence and gain some education when it comes to learning about the first-time buyer and real estate market in Toronto. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Gabriele Battista from Homeowners Reality. I'm a local real estate agent in the Toronto GTA area. What I do and what I'm really passionate about is helping first-time buyers achieve their first-time buying goals. And you know what? It takes a lot of education, a lot of time. It's a very scary market out there for a lot of people. So what I really have dedicated my career to is really helping first-time buyers through those methods, either through weekly videos, through consultations. I want to break it down and make the process for anyone living in Toronto who wants to make homeownership a reality, a confident one. So that's what we're doing over here. And first off, if that's something you're interested in, pause the video, like, subscribe, show me some love. I'd be happy to hear some feedback regarding the YouTube videos that come out every single week regarding first-time buyers in Toronto. I also do a weekly video on my Instagram, a little bit shorter form, and do a weekly newsletter for first-time buyers in Toronto. So as you can tell, we have a ton of content for first-time buyers. If you want to book a consultation with me, you can look in the description. You have a link to book a time in my calendar where I can walk you through the Toronto real estate market and how I help first-time buyers achieve their first-time buying goals. Okay, enough of me. Let's talk about the real estate numbers, the fun stuff. I will be changing one thing this year. In the past, last year in Real Estate by the Numbers, I was tracking the average price point, and I'm still tracking that price point, but it won't be the number that I use in these videos. I will be using the median price point when it comes to tracking different types of categories of houses. The reason being is I think it's a much more stable and less volatile number. Some months it's much more effective, and I think it shows a better price point for a first-time buyer. We're not buying luxury properties, we're buying usually properties in the middle price points. So I will be using median price point going forward for the properties that I track. And for the first time ever, we're going to be going over the median price points of different types of Toronto properties. For detached homes, you're at 1.27 million. For semi-detached homes, you're at $1,080,000. For freehold townhouses, you're at $1,095,000. For condo townhouses, you're at $743,000. For condo apartments, you're at $626,000. So what do these numbers mean? Let's put some context to these numbers. They're just numbers in the end, unless we provide some trends or some context. Let's look at the year-over-year numbers. So I'm going to be comparing the numbers that I told you before, January 2023, to last January 2022. It's important to remember that January of 2022, that's when prices really started to spike up and the buyer demand was really, really hot and it was a really crazy market. So these numbers are going to start to get year-over-year wise, they're pretty drastic. We're going to look at detached homes. They're down 10.25%. Semi-detached homes are down 6.82%. For freehold townhouses, you're down 8.75%. For condo townhouses, you're down 10.39%. And for condo apartments, you're only down 3.65%. As a quick comment, it looks very interesting how resilient condos have been. Detached semis and townhouses really dropped a ton when you look over year numbers. And that's not even getting to the February peak numbers. And for condo apartments, you're only down about 3.5%. So that's a big difference compared to 10% to 3% when it comes to the two asset classes. And now when we move on to month-over-month numbers, it's a much more current day market. We're not comparing seasonal numbers. We're comparing December of 2022 to January 2023. So a much more active day, current day market that we're looking at the slight shifts. When it comes to detached homes, you're up 2%. For semi-detached homes, you're up 2.4%. For freehold townhouses, you're up 8.45%. Condo towns, you're down just under 1%. And for condo apartments, you're down about 1%. And I'll address the elephant in the room. If you weren't watching the video last month when it came to Real Estate by the Numbers, freehold townhouses, it looks like a huge correction upwards. It's not. I would tell you last month's numbers were pretty significantly low. Actually, it was a big drop going down. So this is definitely somewhere in the middle. So I definitely don't see any major shifts in the market. Actually, if anything, it's balanced out last month's numbers to this month's numbers. Overall, month-over-month numbers, anywhere between, I would say, 0 to 2% is a pretty minor change month over month. Things do change and things may shift upwards and downwards a little bit. So relatively month over month, numbers have been flat when it came to Toronto real estate. And that's across the board, all 5 different asset classes. If we consider freehold townhouses two stable months. I'm just going to pull up the graph over here when it comes to median townhouse prices. You notice that from November to December, there was a bit of a dip when it came to townhouse prices. But you look at the January numbers, it's just back up. The reason why I show this is because it's extremely important to not just look at a one-off month in changes of price, especially on a month-to-month basis. You want to use a bunch of data. You want to use multiple months to see if we're really trending downwards, to the side, or up. That's the most important thing when it comes to looking at this data. And the next number that I look at a ton is new inventory versus active inventory. New inventory being new product, new listings coming in the market every single month versus active listings being the properties that are currently at the market at one single time, no matter when they came onto market. And the new listings is very interesting because new listings is actually only down 3.2%. And what's great about that is in the past months, especially in last year, new listings were extremely down. They were down usually 10%, 20%. There was a big kind of drop off in new listings because people didn't really want to sell their houses. Being down only 3.2% shows that we're almost at about market standard, how many properties come onto the market and how many properties are, people have eyes on. So the supply is actually pretty consistent to last year's supply as well. And the best part of this story is active listings. Active listings are up 102%. So they're doubled. So with a similar market in terms of the amount of listings coming up is similar to seasonal standards, you're having double the amount of properties in the market. So a typical buyer will be looking at, instead of 10 properties they're looking at in the criteria, maybe looking at 20 properties in the criteria. They have much more to choose from, but a lot of these properties are probably stale and not selling. So it's showing you that buyers have a ton more choice compared to this time last year, where the market was really, really thin of inventory on the market. And the last big number that I look at are your sold numbers. And the sold numbers are saying a very similar story to past months. You're down 50.7%. So you're cutting the amount of solds from this time last year in half. And let's go back to the active listings. If we have double the listings available, but only half the sales, that means a lot of these properties are overpriced, stale, and not moving for whatever may reason. So the market's definitely slowed down. Buyer demand's not there, and supply is much more plentiful in the market. And then if you look at the graph as well, spending an average of 31 days on market compared to last year was 18 days on market. So not only is the property sitting there, and there's more of it there, it's sitting there longer to sell, and much less of them are selling. So it's a much different market if we compare it to last year being very, very thin market versus this year being a very open market. A lot of properties competing against each other for different prices. And those are the numbers I look on a month-to-month basis. I think those numbers in general tell me a really good story of what's going on in the market. But let me tell you what I'm kind of seeing with my buyer clients, my seller clients, in my experiences in the current marketplace. With buyers, it's an interesting market because I still haven't seen a very similar market flow. A good amount of properties are coming in the market, not a ton, but enough where we have something to see every couple of days to at least review and look at. There definitely is more to see in terms of stale listings. I'm now looking back on properties that are on the market 30 days, 40 days, 50 days, and there is a good amount of inventory out there. A lot of them are maybe overpriced, but it gives us an opportunity to see more than the average listings last year. But when it comes to buyer clients, it's given us the opportunity to, number one, be patient, and number two, be aggressive with our offers sometimes. Sometimes we're not going in, before it was unheard of to go in at asking price for any property. We're being aggressive with our offers. If the comparable sold last, let's say for $500,000, maybe we go in slightly under the last comparable because there's a ton of inventory out there and people are competing against each other. So I'm definitely able to be a little bit more aggressive with my buyers now, which is good because I want to give my clients the best deal possible. So that's the one thing that I'm seeing right now in terms of, steady market, but more opportunities, more, chances for my buyers to actually get a good property and much, much less competition. I think in the past 2 months, I really haven't dealt with multiple offers a ton, maybe a couple times. But most of the time it's the property's been sitting in the market for a week and I'm able to put in the offer. I'm the only offer, maybe one other offer. But it's been not very competitive when it comes to my buyer clients. So we talked about buying. Let's talk about how we sell properties and what we should be doing in a market like this. Let's look at the stats in the end. That's we have to rely on the numbers. Not record low, but very low selling numbers. The last time that numbers were this low was, I believe, was in April 2020, and we know what happened then. The pandemic was hit, and people just did not want to buy. So, very low selling numbers. Number one, active inventory is up. It's not. There's a ton more to look at for buyers. Obviously, sale prices are down. You got to remember that new listings are pretty regular right now, and there are going to be more listings in the spring. So when you're listing a property, the most important thing right now is pricing a property either aggressively or at market value. There are buyers still out there looking, and that's the one thing that people need to understand, that there always will be buyers looking. People are going to get married. There's, death, divorce, all the big reasons people move. But with those reasons, we have to price a property competitively. There's always going to be a buyer out there for you. But if we're going to price a property overpriced, if we're not going to stage a property the way it needs to be staged, if we're not going to take care of the property the way we need it to be taken care of, attract that buyer, we're not going to market it good, we're not going to find buyers. We're going to be one of the many active listings sitting in the market and not doing very well. So the best thing for a seller right now is you want to price it properly. You want to market it towards that ideal buyer. You want to figure out what the ideal buyer looks like and how we're going to find that ideal buyer. So there's a long conversation, obviously, for any buyer or any seller who's looking to list their property, but it definitely takes more effort and much more time to really figure out what that list price should be and what that marketing plan should be. That's me rambling on for the past 10 minutes. If you have any questions, again, I do this every single month regarding the real estate market. And I'm tracking these numbers. And for me, what's very important is for a first-time buyer who may be 2 years out from buying their first home, they can casually check in on my videos, see what's going on, and feel confident that when they're ready to buy a house, they know what's going on and they feel like they're in touch with the market. So I'm happy to answer any questions there. My contact information is easily accessible. Again, if you want to book an appointment with me, do so in the bio. You can book a time into my calendar and we can set something up to really talk about your first time buying goals. Anyways, Gabriele Battista, Homes into Reality. Thank you so much for watching. See you next week. Talk soon as always.